Now, do you see this wall? It's a new wall. There was not a wall there before, but there's a wall there now. That wall cost £28,000 to build. 2 days after they finished it, they came along with hammers and chisels and started to knock it all down again. I mean, is it me? So when I asked the foreman, I said, what was the matter with the wall? He said it weren't straight. I said, you've not heard of a bit of string and 2 posts? He said, nah, absolute true. Is it me? So they built the wall again. Another 28 grand. No wonder the bloody train fares keep going up.
Maybe it's because I'm a Londoner that I love Norfolk so. Now this is Wroxham Stave. Wroxham Stave. You pronounce it exactly the same way as we did station in episode 2. Stave, stave, stave. You will also have noticed I didn't call it Halton and Wroxham Stave. It's known the world over really as Wroxham. The 2 villages, separated only by the river, are colloquially known as Wroxham. It's just a bit easier to say. It's December, and this is probably the only time you're ever going to be able to see the view that you're looking at now, because it won't be long before the visitors start to come again. I'm sitting here now in the middle of Storm Barrow. Now what moronic, overeducated tulip of somebody came up with the idea of naming storms, for Christ's sake? What's the matter with storm? It's a storm, that's all it is. Is it me? And what about the names of these storms? Storm Barrow. Why can't they have Storm Fred or Storm Susan? But I suppose that wouldn't count for much, would it? They have to try and build on the fear. Storm Barrow. Now this is a traditional Broads river cruiser. This one you're looking at is probably between 55 and 60 years old. It's amazing to think how long they've been around really, but locally we call them stinkboats. In Norfolk we don't say boat, we say butt. Butt. Baby, I see you got a new butt. No, I just painted my old butt.
Now here is where the bins used to be. Big bins, full of rubbish with a shed and a building over the top of them. And then, you won't believe it. You won't believe it. The landowner said, move your bins, that's private land. Is it me? I mean, seriously, is it me? So the Broads Authority were forced to rebuild the bins right next to the boats on the Stave. Right there.
So the bloody Broads Authority go round building buildings on other people's lands. I mean, is it me? So, 4 grand for a week in peak season and you moor up next to the rubbish bins. Is it me? So as you can see, I've come away from the Stave and out into the fields for a little natter. This view you're looking at is literally 1 minute from Wroxham Station, to give you a clue of the countryside surrounding this village. Now, first of all then, this is a story taken from that local rag I told you about, the Eastern Daily Press. Now you remember we went to North Walsham in episode 2? Well, this story comes from the paper. A couple of weeks ago, North Walsham had one of their biggest days of their year, which is namely the switching on of the Christmas lights. Thousands attended, party time. What do you think the local authority did? The Norfolk District Council, I think it is. They shut the frigging toilets. Yes, kids pissing themselves, kids pissing up walls, crying, screaming, all upset because they can't go to the toilet. Is that a true is it me moment, you think? Rivers of piss running down the streets, and worse, much, much worse. Oh yeah, and then they're walking it into their cars, and then they're taking it home for that brand new lounge carpet they just spent £5 on. Oh, really gonna come back next year, don't you think? We, as a local authority, are cash strapped, and we won't have enough money to clear up after all those people. You can hear it, can't you? I mean, what were they thinking? Is it me? Woman's got a dog, and she notices that the dog is always scratching its ears, all the time, scratch, scratch, scratch. In the end, she takes the dog to a local vet, and the vet says to her, I've given it some stuff to cure, but what it is, it's an infection in the ear. Now the problem is, you need to get that hair out of the ear, so go to a chemist and get some hair removing cream and apply it to the inside of the dog's ears. Alright, she says, so she goes into a local pharmacy and she says, have you got any hair removing cream? He says, yes madam. He said, but if you use it on your legs, he said, don't shave for a week. So she said, no, it's not for my legs. And he said, well, if you're using it on your armpits, don't shave for a week. No, she said, it's for my schnauzer. And he said, don't ride a bike for a week. Okay, you've all been waiting patiently. Television it is. Now, I don't have a television. I haven't had a television for about 25 or 30 years. The last things I watched on television all those years ago was EastEnders and things like it. This was when Dirty Den and Angie used to run the Queen Vic. Now, in this soap opera, they only had two expressions which they used all the time. The first one was, what's that supposed to mean? And the second one was, what do you mean by that? So any time two characters spoke to each other, I can virtually guarantee you that one or other of those expressions was used. Example, Dad, what's for dinner? What do you mean by that? Or, can I have 3 pounds of potatoes, please? What's that supposed to mean? Now, I was about 7 or 8 when my dad brought home our first television set. It was the size of the cabinet was the size of a small car with a 6-inch by 6-inch black and white screen and only one channel. And I spent the next 3 years of my life standing on a cabinet in the corner with this aerial on my head because that's the only place in the house you could get a bloody signal. Now that is cruelty to children, pure and simple. It's not really true that I haven't got a television. I have. I've got high definition television. I just don't use it as a television. I use it as a monitor. I've got security cameras and they show up on the big screen. Also the laptop if I want to watch a film or such. But I don't actually watch terrestrial television. I haven't got an aerial and I certainly haven't got a British television licence. At the beginning of this video, all you saw was a white dot. Well, that was an attempt to show you exactly what this old television set would do. It would take about 30 minutes to warm up where this white dot would get bigger and bigger. Now, the first programme that came into our household was a show called Andy Pandy, which was a puppet show made for children. I never got to bloody see it because I'm still standing in the corner with a frigging aerial on my head and the sodding programme was made for me. And so what you've got is these 3 adults, my mum, my dad and my grandma, all sitting about 1 1/4 inches away from this screen, absolutely transfixed at the moving images. Now time's getting on and I'm going to wrap this one up now, but I will continue with television in episode 4 because it is a long subject. So, I get an awful love of things, just walking up and down. See ya.